We've seen this community grow up and actually struggle and then take control of its own affairs with incorporation and thrive.
Citrus Heights was a forsaken community by the County of Sacramento.
We were the location where all the low-income housing went. We were the location where all the social services got situated. And then when we'd go down and articulate our concerns, we'd be patted on the head and told, oh, well, we'll take care of it. We'll hang tight, we'll take care of it.
We produced a lot of revenue through sales tax and other taxes, and they were able to spread that money throughout the county. And that's fine. However, we weren't getting back the services that we needed. So we were languishing as a community while the rest of the county was benefiting from the revenue produced from Citrus Heights. And the Chamber of Commerce actually drove the effort for incorporation. Local citizens who are business people, particularly Jack and Jean Duncan, and our business community saw that there would be a benefit to something different from what we were experiencing as county residences and businesses. Well, the county fought us all along the way because it meant a loss of revenue for them, a loss of control for them. They lost on the vote issue and they appealed it. They appealed it to the appellate court. They lost there. They appealed it to the state Supreme Court. They lost there, and then they took it to the U.S. Supreme Court, if you can believe that. So they lost there because the U.S. Supreme Court judges decided this was not a case they wanted to hear. So that meant the lower court ruling held and we won. That process took 6 years.
It was a real commitment from the citizens of Citrus Heights, and it was taking a chance on us what they did.
Of course, remember, the county has all the money and all the power, and we don't have any of that. So we're this little grassroots effort of local citizens trying to make this happen.
Sometimes people have stopped me on the street and asked me if incorporation met my goals and dreams, and my response always is that it exceeded any of my wildest dreams.
Typically you'd run into an obstacle like, the county says no, you just pack it in and say can't do it. But this particular group fought all the way to the Supreme Court.
When the city first incorporated and the 5 of us were elected to the original city council, we learned that when you first start a new city, you have no building, you have no staff, and you have no money.
When we formed the city, the first night we had our first meeting, we discovered that we didn't even have insurance if someone sued the city. So we had to borrow $100,000 from River City Bank to make sure that we could purchase insurance.
The city council at that time, put out an RFP for looking for a new city manager. But the bottom line is they hired Henry Tingle and promoted him from being general services director to becoming our city manager.
And I developed what is called a pay-as-you-go philosophy.
This is probably the only place that I'm aware of where there is a community with no debt.
About 11 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, Henry proposed that we have our own police department, and that was met with pretty much of a brick wall with a lot of folks in our community.
Everybody thought we'd fail, and now we have a premier police department that is the envy of the region.
We've really been able to put in some award-winning and extraordinary cutting-edge crime reduction concepts that have really worked great for us.
Outstanding police services in the city, led by a outstanding chief, and the community is the benefit of this outstanding law enforcement.
It's 100% I mean, it's 100% different now than it was before. We didn't have any police protection. We didn't have anything here in the city that our tax dollars was going to Sacramento instead of staying here in Citrus Heights. So
This is a success story.